often do we read something or see something or see someone and we think this, that doesn't apply to me. I can't relate to that. Or we often say, I can't believe they're doing that. I can't believe they're acting that way. I would never, and we fill in the blank, right? How many times do we do that? We compare ourselves to other people all the time. Sometimes we think we're better than them. Sometimes we think, I wish we had what they had. And we compare ourselves all the time. We've been looking at parables this year. And this morning's parable, I really believe, I think we read it and it just bounces off our heart. Because so many times we don't think it applies to us. We read the story and we're like, I can't relate to that. We just can't relate. I don't understand. Anyone know who that is? Good guess. Anyone? No? Good. Malcolm Forbes. Anyone know who Malcolm Forbes was? When you think Forbes, you think the financial magazine, right? He also has this quote. He who dies with the most toys wins. He said that a lot of times. And he had a lot of toys. Lots of airplanes, yachts, mansions. Very wealthy man. Had lots of toys. So many times in our lives, I think we look at that and think, that's us. If I have more stuff, more toys, more things, more status, that would be a better thing. I think this is better. He who dies with the most toys still dies. Because no matter what happens in our lives, when we die, it's done. Doesn't matter how many toys you have. There's no U-Haul behind a hearse, driving down the road, taking any of it with us. He who dies with the most toys still dies. We're looking at Luke 12 today. The title of the lesson is simply this. Say this 5 times fast. Which rich is rich? Luke 12, starting at verse 13. Jesus is speaking, and all of a sudden, someone in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." Jesus replied, "Man, who appointed me a judge or an arbiter between you?" Then he said to them, "Watch out, be on guard against all kinds of greed. A man's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions." And he told him this parable. The ground of a certain rich man produced a good crop. He thought to himself, "What should I do? I have no place to store my crops." Then he said, "This is what I'll do. I'll tear down my barns and build bigger ones. There I'll store all my grain and my goods, and I'll say to myself, you have plenty of good things laid up for many years. Take life easy. Eat, drink, and be merry." But God said to him, "You fool. This very night your life will be demanded from you. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself? This is how it will be with anyone who stores up things for himself, but is not rich toward God." Anyone relate to that story? Here's this guy that has so many crops. In our time, we would be looking at that saying, "I have so much money, I don't know what to do with it." Does anyone relate to having so much cash is piled around your house, you're stepping over it, right? Other than Tanja, can anyone relate to having so much money that you don't know what to do with it? You're walking around going, "I got to build a bigger house. I've got so much money. I need bigger barns. There's so much. I don't know what to do with it." Every time she reaches in her pocket, there's $100 bills everywhere. Anyone relate to that? Probably not. It's hard to relate to that. Here's the question, though. Why does God call this person a fool? Why does he call him a fool? Right there, Luke 12:20 says, God said to him, "You fool." It seems like he has it all, doesn't it? He's got barns. He's got to build bigger ones because he's got so many crops he doesn't know what to do with it. He's got it all. I believe there's two areas in our lives in which we can be foolish, just like this rich fool. But there's a warning coming to you. You've got to pity the fool. The first area in our lives, I really believe that where we can become like this foolish man is found in Deuteronomy 8, verse 11. It says, be careful that you do not forget the Lord your God. The flaw of this rich fool was not that he was rich. It was that he forgot the Lord our God. We looked last week at the 10 virgins in the parable, right? We had 5 that understood that the bridegroom was coming and they saved their oil. And we had the other 5 that just kind of went through life and they burned their oil and they spent it. And they forgot that the bridegroom was coming. And they forgot that Jesus in our lives, we forget too many times that the bridegroom, which is Jesus, is coming back. The rich fool forgot God. He simply lived his life how he wanted to live it. We have 2 ways of living life, really. He looked at life and said, I'm going to live it for me and for what I can get out of this. And he forgot about death. Because he realized death was going to be in 10, 20, 30, or 40 years down the road. He didn't realize that death was going to come that night. I think he took credit for everything that he did. Did he really? Let's look at Luke 12. Just verse 16. Tell me if anything stands out to you in the scripture. It's just one sentence. The ground of a certain rich man produced a good crop. Let me ask you this. Did he produce anything? It was the ground, right? He didn't do anything. My grandparents were farmers, and they worked the ground. They had their farm-all tractors, and they would plow the ground. They would till it up, and they would turn it up. And then they would plant the seeds, right? They would plant it in a nice row so they could harvest it come harvest time. And that's what they did. And they waited. They couldn't produce the rain that was needed. Not too much rain, because if there's too much rain and it rains nonstop, the seeds might rot. So just enough rain, just enough dryness. And there's that thing in the sky. It's big, it's orange, it gives off heat. It's the sun, right? He didn't produce the sun. We need the sun to give us the energy to actually grow that little grain or that little seed into a crop. Too many times, I believe, in our lives, we take credit. I think this rich fool looked around and said, look what I've done. Look what I have. I have this crop. I have this. Look what I did. And we think to ourselves, well, that's not me. You don't understand. I think we say this to ourselves. You don't understand, though. I worked hard. I earned that college degree. I put in the time to learn my craft. I sacrificed family time. I sacrificed vacations. I was wise with my money. We say I, on and on and on. And all those things might be true. You might have worked 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week. And you did work hard. I understand that. You did go to college, maybe. But it doesn't matter, right? Who gave you the intelligence and the ability to actually go to college? Or do we say, look what I did. I achieved this degree. Maybe you did work hard for your craft. Maybe you did learn how to be whatever that is. You're an entrepreneur. Guess what? Who gave you the oomph and the desire and the ability to go through the ups and the downs? It wasn't you. You became the electrician. You became the plumber. That's great. Who gave you the ability? As it goes backwards. Who gave you the ability to do all those things? Do we ever remember God? Or do we just say, I did this? And if we look at this in our lives and we compare it to the rich ruler or the rich fool, I guarantee you this, he said the same thing. He said, I worked hard. I worked the fields. He probably could have, potentially, if they had an A&M degree back then, he went to college maybe. He took the time. He sacrificed. He was wise with his money. On and on and on. But so many times we read this and we just forget it. And we think, I did it. You don't understand how much closer we are to the rich fool than we think. What do we really do? 1 Corinthians 3:7. So neither he who plants nor he who waters is anything but God, but only God who makes things grow. God makes it grow. Church, we don't do half of anything. It's God that does it. My wife and I just got doing our taxes. We love tax time. And we get the opportunity to pay a thing every year called capital gains tax. We love capital gains taxes. It's when you sell an investment for more money than what you bought it for. And you get to pay a tax on it. So we get to do that. I hate that, but we do. But here's the question. Did I do anything to make that company stock go up on an individual basis? Didn't do a thing. But do I sit there and say, look what I did? Do I run to my wife and go, look what I did, I'm amazing, I did this. I made, whatever stock it was, this grow or this bond grow. I did all these great things. Or do I ever stop and say, thanks, God? And I realize that God made it grow and I didn't do anything other than simply scatter the seed. I just threw some seeds out there and said, man, I hope it grows. Okay, if it doesn't, well, I guess we'll wait longer. And we'll wait and we'll see. I think we're closer to the rich fool than we think. Financially, this guy was super smart. If you look at this rich fool, we would think he's rich, but he's super duper smart. Financially, he's wise. If you look at all these companies up here, they're going to tell you exactly how to use your money, right? They're all investment firms, they're banks. And if you look at this rich fool, financially, he was wise. Even scripturally looking, he was very wise financially. Proverbs 21, it talks about budgeting, right? But a foolish man devours all he has. Scriptures talk about living within your means. These investment banks would tell you to diversify your investment portfolio, right? That sounds great. We should do that. It's in Ecclesiastes 11:2. Give portions to 7, yes, up to 8, for you do not know what disaster may come upon the land. Talks about diversifying. Sounds like a great idea, scripturally based. Maybe we should plan for the future. That's a great idea financially, right? We should always plan for the future. Luke 14:28. It reads, suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Will he not first sit down and estimate the cost to see if he has enough money to complete it? You have to plan. This rich fool planned. He was like, I got to build bigger barns. He was planning. Financially, super smart. He was storing up things. He was saving. He was being intelligent financially. Proverbs 6. It says, go to the ant, you sluggard, consider its ways and be wise. It has no commander, no overseer, no ruler, yet it stores its provisions in the summer, and it gathers its food at the harvest. Sounds financially smart, doesn't it? So why is he called a fool? So why is he called a fool? I think it's because of this. I think he forgets God. I think last week, looking at the 10 virgins, I think we have those who remembered that Jesus was coming back, and we had those that don't remember that Jesus was coming back. And in our lives today, you have to ask yourself, where am I? Am I prepared for when Jesus comes back? I appreciate the welcome this morning. Are we ready? Are we prepared? Or are we just going through life thinking, man, if I could just get a few more toys, we'll make this happen, and my life will be better. 1 Corinthians 3:18. If you want to live by the world's standards, the scriptures say this: do not deceive yourselves. If any one of you thinks he's wise by the standards of this age, he should become a fool, so that he may become wise. For the wisdom of this world is foolishness in God's sight. If you want to become foolish, you need to get ready for God. The rich fool forgot to get ready for God. He thought, I'm just going to live life for me and myself and everything that I do. I'm going to use everything I have for me. And he really did. I think he really forgot the difference between life and death. And if we live to be a Christian, we live to be someone that follows God, we have to become a fool. The world's going to look at you and say, you're a fool. You shouldn't be doing those things. You shouldn't be serving. You shouldn't be doing that. You should be living for your own self. That's the standard of this world. The standard of this world is do for yourself. Gather as many toys as you possibly can. Go and get the house. Go and get the better car. Go and get the better whatever it is. If you don't believe me, just wait about 6 or 7 months when the commercials start coming on TV and they start telling you what toys you're supposed to buy your kids. And the jewelry stores start saying, here's our best jewelry sale. Don't forget to buy this for Christmas. And they start flooding us with buy more stuff. Get more toys for you. That's the standard of this world. And the scriptures really say, you become a fool for God. You don't forget God. Second point is this. He missed serving other people. Simply, he missed serving other people. Turn over to Philippians 2, verse 3. Or you can just read it on the screen. He missed serving other people. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but in humility consider others better than yourselves. Each one of you should look not only to your own interests, but to the interests of others. You know, when we look at this scripture, we see the word greed, and we instantly relate it to money. If you look at Luke 12, verse 15, Jesus says this, watch out. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. There's all kinds of greed, church. If you look at that picture, I don't know where it is up there or not. If you look at that picture, he's just eating, we'll call it a Hershey's candy bar, right? If that was money, a dollar bill in his hand, you would say he's greedy, he's selfish, he wants to keep it for himself. He's hoarding the money. He's a greedy person. But if you look at that and say he's not sharing, he's not giving to somebody else, he's not willing to sacrifice that little bit for the other people, we wouldn't call that greedy. We call it selfish. You know, if you have kids, you would always look at your kids and don't be selfish, make sure we share, right? We always do that. So if you just replace that and go, man, what kinds of greed are there? I think selfishness is a big one in our lives. I think it's more of a heart than anything else. He missed serving other people. This rich fool says, what should I do? I have no place to store my crops. This is what I'll do. I will tear down my barns. I will build bigger ones. I'm going to store my grain for myself. And I will have good things laid up for many years. And I will do this. And I will do that. And I'm going to do this. Not once did he think of other people. He never sat there and said, you know what? There's people that work for me. I'm going to go ahead and give them a little bonus. Hey, thanks for working hard. He didn't look at the poor around him that was there, because there's always poor amongst us, and say, I can give some of my crops away. That was not his thought process. His thought process was simply, what can I do? Greed is not an amount. It's a spirit. Are only rich people greedy? So many times in our society, it's the rich people that are hoarding everything and keeping everything, right? It's a spirit. It's not an amount that we have. It's not if we have $10 or 10 million or 100 million or a billion. It's a spirit amongst us. Are we selfish with our lives? Let me ask you a question. Homeless stand-down's coming up, right? How many times are we like, I'm there, let's do it. Let's go serve the homeless people in our community. Or Or do we sit there and say, you don't understand, that's a Saturday, man. I worked a Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. I killed it this week. I worked 70 hours and I'm tired. I'm staying home. I deserve this. You don't understand. I worked hard. Walk for Hunger. We're going to walk around the zoo and raise money for people who need food. Yeah, but you don't understand. It's a Saturday, and I've worked hard all week. You don't understand. I have a test coming up on next Tuesday. I need to study for that, which you do. But do we say, I'm going to do that, and I'm not going to serve? It might be raining. I might get my hair wet. Sorry, Tanja. I'm going to get my hair wet. It might be cold. I'm not willing to sacrifice that for other people. What are we going to do? What is our true spirit about us? This rich fool didn't have this spirit. He had the spirit of I, and I'm going to keep for me. I wonder out there today how many of us have that same spirit. We might not say we do, but in our true heart of hearts, do we really sit back and say, man, I'm going to serve. I'm going to give my best in everything that I do. In 1 Peter 4, it reads this. Each one should use whatever gift he has received to serve others faithfully, administering God's grace in its various forms. If anyone speaks, he should do it as one speaking the very words of God. If anyone serves, he should do it with the strength God provides, so that in all things God may be praised through Jesus Christ. We don't serve for us, church. We don't serve so we get the crown and say, look at me, look what I did, look how amazing I am. We serve so God can be glorified, so God can get the praise. We serve so people can see our lives and say, I see God in them. Or do we sit at home and say, I'd like to serve, but I kind of don't want to? You know, JD came up here a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about how he loves to sing. And he sings at home all the time, and I don't know if Maddie likes that or not, but he sings at home all the time. But he shared his story where, in the beginning, he didn't come up and sing. He kept it to himself. He would sit there and sing, and he would not come up here and lead songs. His gift, he realized, was being wasted. And then he changed. One fateful day in Columbus, I believe it what it was. And he then said, I'm going to use my gift, I'm going to use my talent, and I'm going to serve God. And he comes up here and he sings. My joke is I'm inspired to come up and lead songs, but we're not going to do that. But he did. He changed. He said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do my very, very best in all that I do. And I'm going to serve. You know, it's interesting. We come up here so many times, and we do. I appreciate Angel come up and doing his contribution talk. I'm going to share something with you real quick. So we have the story so many times we hear of the widow, the woman who gives 2 copper coins. This is actually what they look like. Here's 2 Roman coins. These date back to Tiberius around 20 AD. I don't know if you can see that. Those are Roman coins. Those are about what she had. Those are silver. She had copper. It's not exciting. They're just 2 little coins. And we use that story so many times in our lives, and we say, you know what, it doesn't matter the amount that I give. I just, I can give whatever I want. And God says, no, that's not really true. God says we have to give our best. We have to serve our best. We have to give our heart. In our spirit of spirits, let me ask the question, do we give all that we can? Whether it's money, whether it's serving people, whether it's the homeless stand down, or whatever it is, do we actually do our very, very best? Do we give it all? That was the whole point of the woman with the 2 copper coins. She didn't just give her best, she gave everything she had. Church, she gave it all. Are we giving it our all anymore? Do we look to serve in all circumstances? Do we go to Kids Kingdom and serve? Or is that too much of a pain and I really don't like doing that? Do we serve on the board? Do we serve the community? Do we look for an outreach? Do we share our faith with our friends? Do we study the Bible with people? Do we do anything, or do we just serve ourselves? Are we constantly looking at I and me and what I have? Or are we willing to serve? The church of Laodicea was known for serving. They were known for their incredible deeds. And then this is what happened. Revelation 3, starting in verse 15. I know your deeds. You're neither cold nor hot. I wish you were either one. So because you're lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, I'm about to spit you out of my mouth. You say, I'm rich. Sounds like the rich fool. I've acquired wealth. Sounds like the rich fool. And I do not need a thing. Sounds like the rich fool. But you do not realize that you're wretched, pitiful, poor, blind, and naked. Is that us? Has that become us? Individually, has that become us? I believe this. I believe if you stop serving other people with all of your heart, if you stop giving all of your heart, I believe this becomes us. If you forget God in your life and you start thinking to yourself, I did it, I did this, I did that, this can become us. You say, well, I'm not cold. I believe in God. Okay, good. I go to church. That's good. I go to midweek occasionally. I go to small group occasionally. I read my Bible every so often. I might even pray every so often. I'm not cold. I have a belief in God. But the question is this. Are you giving all of our heart anymore? Or have we gone, I'm not totally cold, but I'm not hot. I'm just kind of lukewarm. Just kind of there. I'm worried about me and what I can accomplish and what I've done, and I've worked hard, and I've got the degree, and I've done this, and I've sacrificed, and I was wise with my money, just like the rich fool says. And we do the exact same thing, but we look at him and go, I don't relate to that. I don't have a lot of money, but can we relate to the heart? Of greed is not an amount. The greed is the spirit inside of us. What is our spirit inside of us? Are we forgetting God, church? Are we serving with all of our heart? Are we serving with everything we have? Are we the woman with the 2 copper coins? It says, I'm giving everything. I'm giving it all. Or do we say, that can be for somebody else. Someone else can serve in Kids Kingdom. Someone else can serve on the board. Someone else can go do that. Or is our heart going, I'm going to serve? I'm going to leave you with 2 things. Do not forget God. Do not forget God in our lives, church. If you do, you're going down a really bad path. Because we never know if it's going to be today, tomorrow, 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years, but we're not going to be here. If we're simply going to say, I'm just going to acquire everything I possibly can, and I'm going to live life for me, we're missing God. We're missing that opportunity to have a relationship with God. And church, I don't want us to stop serving. Do not stop serving. If we do, we become this church in Laodicea that says, man, I've got it all. What do I need to do? Church, I implore you, we have to serve. You want to make a difference in this community? We need to stop being cold. You want to make a difference in your workplace? You want to make a difference in your family? You need to stop being lukewarm. This church cannot be lukewarm. This church needs to become hot again. It needs to be one that loves God and serves the community. It needs to be one that just does not sit around and do nothing. It just sits around and says, what can I acquire? And what can I do? What about me? What about others? Church, let's become a hot church again. Let's look at our lives today and say, I'm going to be different. I'm going to change. I'm no longer going to be lukewarm. I want to be hot for God. I want to have a great relationship with God, and I want this church to be amazing. Church, I want you to ask this question: which rich is rich? Amen. Thanks for your time this morning.